Latinos que progresan, podcast uniendo a través de la educación. Somos una voz que nunca se cansa, que inspira fuerza en cada corazón. Estamos fortaleciendo la educación de toda nuestra comunidad de una manera divertida y diversa que nos impulsa cada día más. Latinos que progresan, podcast.
Bienvenidos una vez más a nuestro podcast educativo, el podcast número 1 y el primer podcast que está educando a nuestra comunidad Latinos que progresan. Bienvenidos nuevamente. Welcome. So today we have the honor of having someone very special in our community, someone who's making a difference and also taking care of Latinos in the state of Connecticut. We have Stephanie Thomas, the Secretary of the State. Mira, Stephanie, thank you so much for being here. You know, we are a group of Latinos educating the community, and I'm going to take the time to say my name. I'm Dianisi Torres. I've been educating the community in different platforms. I teach in the University of Connecticut. I teach for the Husky Health Insurance. I teach for business classes all over the state through community economic development funds. So I am part of the most non-profit organizations in terms of education.
Yeah.
I go out there and teach. Basically, is what I do.
I've seen you out there.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. And I would like to have my friends here to introduce themselves as well. If you would like to say your name and who are you people?
My name is Fernando Sardena. I am Peruvian. I am coordinating the center right now. But in December, I move to New Haven, leave New Haven. But we happy to be here because really we need connection with the state.
Thank
This is
you.
the area.
Yes, my name is Linoska Mercedes. I'm the lead community center Waterbury coordinator.
Good to see you again.
Hi, my name is Giselle Leonardo, and I'm a director of nonprofit organization Hispanic Women's that now we're expanding here in Connecticut, and also a financial educator. So I'm so happy to have you here because, you know, I did a little bit of my research to get to know you a little better, right, before I meet you personally. So the fact that you've been around for more than 30 years in the nonprofit sector, I was like,
Yes,
oh, great.
yes,
like,
yes.
It was great to
Yes.
to meet someone like you and get nuggets, right? So we were excited to have you here.
I love the nonprofit sector.
yes. So we definitely understand the work that it takes working for a nonprofit, and especially the community that needs it. So the first question we have for you, Stephanie, is the Latino community is one of the fastest growing population in Connecticut. What specific initiatives is your office implementing to increase voter registration and turnout among Latino residents?
It's a good question. So our office, most people have no idea what our office does. So
Thank you
I'm
so
going
much.
to start there.
Yes, thank you.
I go ask people, do you know what the Secretary of the State does? And everyone gives me a blank look.
They think that you're just typing letters.
Like they really have no idea.
Yes.
So we do many things. We oversee elections in the state. Every town runs their own, but we make sure they are in compliance with state and federal law. We are responsible for putting together training programs, etc., for election workers. But we also run the business registry.
Yes.
So anyone who is forming a business entity in the state of Connecticut, that is running through our office, and we do a lot of other things. We are the repository of laws when they get passed, and a lot of varying types of records. So I always joke, like, if you want to see how your town voted in 1769, like, we have those records.
Important to know.
Yeah,
Important to know. That's history.
Yeah, and no, 100%. So we have a lot of those historical records. But to answer your question, one of the things that we've been trying to really focus on since I took office in 23, I don't think it's enough to just talk about voter registration and elections. The other side of that is civic education and civic engagement.
Yes.
People
Definitely.
have to know why they should vote, not
Yes.
just how
Yes.
to actually vote, right?
Absolutely
Because
agree.
I know when I was growing up, I often was like, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
I did vote because my family said it was very important. But I like to say I didn't have a lot of enthusiasm for
Right.
it. I wasn't researching candidates all the time or
Mhm.
what the issues were. So there are laws in Connecticut that require certain ballot-related documents to be translated into Spanish
Yes.
based on the population of the town. But I'm like, that only applies to like a few pieces of material.
Right.
What about all of the civic information
Yes.
about why people should be involved? So we've
Yes.
spent a lot of effort trying to get translation. I will say we've asked for funding many times, that has been denied.
Yes.
But we, I don't like to say I can't do something. So we were able to recruit a lot of volunteers who have worked to translate many of our materials into Spanish. And the hope is that we create an entire ecosystem around elections so that people feel comfortable. I know LEAD has done a lot of work, for example, setting up like a faux or like election centers so people know what to expect. Things like that are so important because what I have found, people won't show up if they don't know what to expect.
Very important. And voting with conscience, like knowing why and how and where.
Yes.
I think that's key. That's very important for the Latino community because I think the Latino community and most of the community in Connecticut, we know where to go.
Yes.
We know how to, but we don't know why.
Yeah.
We don't have the conscience of knowing why we're voting or deciding to vote for certain candidates.
And I feel like you also don't necessarily know if you'll be respected there.
Yes.
I have great respect for anyone who's bilingual. My husband has been trying to become fluent in Spanish.
Oh, that's great.
And he takes an online lesson literally every day.
Oh, that's great.
For like 5 years now.
Nice.
And now he's...
So ya le está listo.
So now he's like reading books.
That's great.
And like he listens to
So
the
you probably by
news.
default will speak Spanish.
I know. I hope to pick up 1 or 2 words. But I make the case that even though when we go out and like he can have a casual conversation, but if he had to go show up at a polling place and vote in Spanish, he would not feel confident.
Yes.
So it's really so people I think have this perception like people should know English.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? Like a lot of people have conversational English, but ballots are very technical.
I agree. Very technical words, and not only for the ballots, in many topics that's what we encounter that is too technical. There's vocabulary that it needs to be explained according to the context.
Yes.
And that's what when we get
100%.
lost in translation because the actual word gets translated, but it doesn't mean
it means something different. Can I tell you? Even when early voting rolled out last year, and we were doing translation, even the term early voting
it didn't sound the same.
on what Spanish, like is it Mexican, Peruvian, like, and it was
and
so
people
different.
Don't really get connected.
And people don't understand that,
Right.
so we were looking at every other state because we're not the first state. But it was funny how it was translated in California was different than in New Mexico.
According to the amount of population.
Exactly. So people don't understand these differences. So we try to bring this to light. And there's one thing I think a lot of Connecticut residents don't know. Years ago, before I became secretary, our office, through the state, purchased like a license for translation services at polling locations. So anybody can walk into any polling location and could have access to live translators. It's on like a tablet or a phone from ASL in 200 other languages. But it's up to the town whether or not they provide it because there's a small fee. So Hartford, for example, has it available. And she has told me she's never paid more than like $50 a year. But a lot of election workers feel nervous about it. So I'm trying to educate people that it exists because I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable because they don't think someone
I
will
agree.
speak their language.
Yes.
But you have to call your registrar in advance to try to make sure they'll have it.
And I know, the community makes a big effort in order to have translator or interpreters at the voting sites, because I myself,
Yeah.
when I go with my mom, there's always a translator or interpreter in place in order to help the community, especially in Windham County, in Hartford County, they take good care of that. And it's really important that, I am glad to hear all that, Stephanie, because it seems that you understand, the office is understanding the need of the Latinos, especially with the language.
Yeah.
Because language barrier is something that we cannot deny, and it's something that we need to work on.
100%.
And especially for the newcomers, because we get, educate the ones that are here, but there's newcomers, new generations, especially the generations that are born here.
Yeah.
Generations that are born here.
Yeah.
That they are not, they're not familiar with this information, and that's the goal, right?
Well, something that I wanted to add is that we're very glad that you're explaining what is the main reason and the resources available out there. Because, for example, me as a Hispanic, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't born in this country, I have to learn the language, and I remember the struggles, trying to participate certain things. But now knowing that there is resources out there, I believe that the Hispanic community will feel more confident and comfortable. That's two separate things, right? That they know that they're going to be there, and they know that they're also making the effort to help them to be included. So we're very excited about that.
Yes. No, that's terrific.
Excellent.
You answered my question. My question is, for the Latinos born, what kind of material does they have available for in both languages for the Latinos?
Yeah, so I'll answer it a little more fully. So there are some things required by law. So ballots in certain towns. 33 towns in Connecticut are required by our laws to have ballots available in Spanish. Every polling place is also required to have certain posters about voting rights. If there's a ballot question on the ballot that year, other things, and those also have to be translated. So where we have tried to be additive, we have a website, civics101.ct.gov. And that is where we try to distill complicated information down into like a one-pager about things that people are most confused about. Like, if I'm in college, how do I vote? So we have those in English and Spanish.
State, like in college,
exactly.
They live in a different state. That's a
exactly, because college, like they're always like, do I vote here or there? Like, what's the
they
law?
feel unlocated.
Also, absentee ballot laws. We have videos and materials available in English and Spanish, because that language is very technical. So we have a lot of different things, what to do if you're formerly incarcerated and want to restore your voting rights. All of these types of things we have available in English and Spanish.
And those documents are hard to read.
Yes.
Even if English is your first language, and it's the only language you read, they're hard. They're very technical. And documents for the governments, are difficult to digest.
I mean, I don't mind saying it's very difficult. The reason we
it's
have
a whole different
civics,
language.
The reason we have Civics 101 is because when I first became secretary, like someone would ask me a question, and I would go to our website, and I'm like, this feels like it was written by 2 lawyers.
It's like a whole foreign language.
And you know how, like, even like the absentee ballot envelope, when I'm like, I had to vote by absentee ballot once, and I'm like reading the instructions, and you get nervous. And I'm like, wait, what does this say? And you reread it a couple of times. So we try to, for no matter what language you speak, we try to put these things into plain language.
And
so
imagine,
you don't need a law degree.
This is for you that you're very fluent in English.
Yes.
So imagine someone that doesn't really manage that language. It's like 2 different languages to learn.
That
the
is
civic language
exactly
and
my
English.
point. That is exactly my point.
In a certain way, it blocks the meaning of it. It blocks it. And that's why I think it's so important to have the information out there
Yes.
for the community.
Yes.
That people see that, you know, this is a normal person, normal, right, Stephanie?
Yes.
So even though she's famous, she's normal, and you know, that you understand, and the office understand. You have an awesome team behind you.
Yes,
You know, we
absolutely.
cannot deny that you have an amazing team, and
Amazing.
you know, like they take care of all of those details, and then you have a multicultural team.
Mhm.
It's not that you know you have an office that is diverse, and I love that about your office, because we need that different mentality.
I always laugh because this agency, since even before I got there, or the year before I got there, we always fail our affirmative action plan because what we're missing are more white men. But it's like so
Look at
like
that.
unusual that
Right.
we fail
Right at
because
that level.
yeah,
But that's amazing.
because it's a very diverse office.
That's amazing.
and has been for a while.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like the effort, you know, it shows. And I am myself. I'm gonna be honest. You know, like I was researching about the office and what is it. You know, that the importance of it in the states, and as in every place, every organization, every program. You know, the people who's providing the information for the community to make them part of it.
Yeah.
I think is the pivotal piece of any
Yes.
program, any office, any organization, because he's the one that is taking care of letting people know how to wear and you know who to talk to.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, you have to have a good team. When I first came in 2023, one of our first all staff meetings, one thing I said, I was, you know, I'm not from a political background. I never thought I'd run for office. Like, this is all fairly new for me. And one thing I said, have you ever had that feeling where you call a government office because you're trying to get something done and it sounds like something simple, and you either like can never reach a live human being or they talk to you
Or
and
they take
it's,
forever to answer.
and it's
Yes.
so frustrating
One operator to another
that
operator.
you either
Yes, you
want
get
to
frustrated.
cry
You get
or
frustrated.
curse.
Yes.
I was like, my only goal is for no one to ever feel this way
Yes.
if they're reaching out to
Yes,
our office.
thank you.
So that is like the value that I
Yes.
try to bring to all of our work, which is why
That's
we
awesome.
spend so much time trying to go out and meet people where they
Yes,
are
yes.
versus having them come to us, etc.
Yes, and we appreciate your participation in the community events.
Yeah.
You know, it's important. I think it's really important to mingle. You know,
Yes.
to be around. You know,
Yes.
different communities. I love to learn about different cultures.
Yeah.
And you don't have to invite me. I get there even. If
That's a fact.
That's who I am, right? So,
I show up a lot of places.
Hello, I'm
here. What you got to eat?
yes. And you know, and I think that's the beauty about your persona, Stephanie, because it's not that you are holding this awesome position very high, and there, but in the states, administration of the states, but you also feel that you're a human,
Yeah.
and you show that, and you spend time with the Latino. That's where I asked for.
We ran into each other,
At the festival, Latinos got put it together,
Yes,
yes.
100%. Well, I do I go everywhere.
Yes,
That's good.
Because it's how I learn. It's also how you pick up valuable information
Yes.
about
Yes.
how to improve. If you're not out there, I'm a direct learner,
Mhm.
so I like to be there myself. I like to see what I see what I can pick up, see how I can improve things,
Personal experience,
and
I
not
think, is
just
everything.
like get reports.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
I always run into people and like we spoke and I'm like, hey, you have a show? Like
when
yeah.
I saw that email, I said like, Roger, thank you, Roger.
Yes,
I'm
Roger,
like,
thank you.
great job. Putting everything together. When I saw that, I'm like, I told everybody. I said,
Yes, we got it. I was so excited.
Because
I'm very easy to get.
That's right. Well, you see, we didn't know that, right? So now, like, people see you, now they know and say, hey, okay, she's big.
I always say, like, reach out. I try to get
Yes.
everywhere.
That's
Like,
Yes.
That's great to
And
know.
that's the idea. We want to put this information out there, definitely. And I know we have more questions for you.
Yes, I do. I do have questions
Yes.
because you did mention something about college, right?
Yeah.
So that means that there is a lot of the population that really get to vote are
Yeah.
really young first time in boys.
Yeah.
And I remember when I turned 18,
Yes.
remember I'm coming from Hispanic background. Like my parents don't really have any idea why you should vote here, etc., etc. So I'm here like, okay, I'm just honestly, the first time I vote, I did it because it was the right thing to do when you became a citizen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what I want to know is what resources do your office offer for young people, right, like myself back then, right? That
You're still young.
Thank
She's
you.
still
Thank
very
you. I'll
young,
take it. I'll
yes.
take it. To create the value, right? Not just to vote, just to vote. Like,
Yeah.
what resources do you have for them?
So this is something no one knows or has thought about. Our office has no resources for voter education or like sort of public outreach. We are a non-revenue generating agency, meaning we don't make, like, yes, people pay business filing fees, all of that, but it doesn't hit our budget. It goes straight into the state's general fund.
Okay.
So our only budget is given to us from the state, and we have to live within it.
Yes.
So sometimes it's enough money, sometimes it's not for what we need to do. There's no law that requires the Secretary of the State to inspire people to vote, right?
No, yeah.
So
sure.
therefore, there's no budget allocated to it. So everything that we've been able to do is really just because we have elevated it as a value. We have used volunteers, interns. We had to recruit them. That is how we did all of our translation.
That's great.
I like to say it's no way to run a democracy, but we felt like we can't just wait 5 years until we get funding. And that's why I go so many places directly, so I can talk to young people directly,
Okay, that's beautiful.
talk to other
That's
people directly, to try. I always say you can't force people to vote, you have to
Yes.
inspire them, but then also to give them the information that I never had, which is what happens from election to election that shapes our lives. When you vote, you're just like, that's the first step. You're just electing someone who will vote on all these policies, but no policy is written on election day.
Yeah,
So you have to then keep showing up to make sure that whatever you voted for like why you voted for that person, they're able to carry out what you voted them to do. And I want to say this because, again, before I got involved, before I was secretary, I was a state representative. And I was always surprised how few people reached out to me. I'd be considering very important bills, and I would hear from like 4 people. And I'm like, 22,000 constituents,
Wow.
and only 4 of them were reaching out. And it's important because I got elected. Part of my platform was about voting rights. I really wanted early voting, universal absentee voting, etc. But when I got to Hartford, there were 150 other state reps, and they all got elected for different reasons: housing, education, high school education, childhood education, early, environment. So we all get there and we find out, like, oh no, we have to battle it out because there's only limited budget available, right? And limited time.
And much to do.
Yeah, so if I go in and say, I need $2 million to do translations and voter education, and then there's a public hearing and 4 people show up, and someone else says, I need $2 million for early childhood education, and 1,000 people show up, well, guess who gets the funding?
The other one, yeah.
So when you elect someone, it's really important that you keep showing up to give them the backup to get the policies enacted for why you voted for them.
Very important.
And people don't
Very
think of
important.
it that way.
It's not
We never thought about that,
Yes,
honestly.
and elections is not a one-day thing.
Correct.
Elections is a continuous action And people, I'm from Puerto Rico, so very,
Mhm.
very, very, very fanatics of
Yes,
politics,
yes.
And
I hear you have fun elections. I mean, like, yeah,
Yes,
celebration.
that's
true,
what I
yeah.
gotta say.
Yeah.
Election days and the
Yes.
whole day, we are, watching and paying attention like it's a reality show.
From the morning to the noon.
Yes, and when that ends, there's a celebration no matter what.
Yes,
If
that
they're
is
winning or
great.
losing, there's a celebration.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
In
so
the entire island.
great. I wish
In the
we had
entire
that.
island.
Yeah.
And here, it's celebrated as well in the United States. We definitely celebrate in a way
Yeah.
more closely,
Yeah.
more civilized,
Yeah.
right? but I think it ends there. Like for
Mhm.
most people, their mentality is like it ends there. They know who won or who's
Yeah. Yeah.
elected, and they know
I
they're
agree.
so proud of or so sad, happy or sad, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that's it. The conversations ends there, but it's important the continued support
Yes.
of these elected representatives
Yes.
because they are the ones that carrying the wanting, the needs in our community.
100%. And you made me think of something else that people often do. Say your candidate lost and
Uh-huh.
someone of the other party got elected. I feel like people somehow then they're like, oh, well, I'm
They feel
just out of luck
They
for
feel
the next
discouraged.
few years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that person still represents you.
Exactly.
So, like, you should still be in
Exactly.
touch because
Exactly.
they are your vote.
I agree. And then we don't know yet what the candidate is going to bring, or we have stories,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
why it's coming back. But I always think about the times that we're living and the situation, the things that are happening in the world and in our state and in our community.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that shapes the actions and reactions of all of these elected, representatives, and that's something that we need to take in consideration
Yes, yes.
because we can say like, here we go, this is a problem in our community. And it might be out of that person's hand or office or team in order to solve it.
Exactly.
And people think it's like this. It's gonna happen like this. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen like that.
That's a really good point. So, in the state legislature, there are usually about 4,000 bills raised every single year. 4,000.
Wow.
So, there is no, like, we have a part time legislature. Most
Wow.
Most people have full-time jobs. When I was a state representative, I was paid $28,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
Like less than I made in my
Yes.
first job out of college.
Yes.
Wow.
Like
Yes.
30 years ago
Yes.
or whatever.
See.
So, like a lot of people have full-time jobs,
Yes.
etc. So 4,000 bills. Like you can't be expert in all those areas.
Yeah.
So I really relied on nonprofits and
Yes.
other groups and people to reach out to me to say, hey, you may not be aware of this issue in my community, whatever it is, but here's some data, here's my experience,
Yes.
here's what I think of the potential solutions. And that helped me understand these issues. But most people don't think of it that way. Like, oh, the elected person's the expert and they don't need my help or input. But we do need input from people who are closest to
Yes.
whatever the
Yes.
issue is.
Yes.
And I think that the fact that you've been around so long in the nonprofit sector
Yeah.
give you the ability to connect with the community, and that's something that unfortunately not everybody has it, right?
Yes.
Because
That's
you're
true.
coming from there, you're coming
Yes.
from the community,
It's true.
you know the needs, the questionable things that they have all the time.
You're
So
right.
that's
I-
awesome.
It was, I always say, like, people always want lawyers and business people to be elected. And I did run my own business, so I'll say, yeah, that's good too.
Uh-huh.
But the nonprofit background, I find, is most relatable to government,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Because, like, nonprofits solve the most intractable problems, like the hard to solve
Yes.
problems that government has left behind.
Yes, absolutely
And
agree with you.
You only get funded if you do a good job.
Mhm.
You're
That
constantly
is true.
accountable.
And you are able to demonstrate
You
that.
have
Yes.
to have that data. You have to show you're doing it right, or
Yes.
eventually people stop funding you.
Yes.
So I find like that is a good mindset for people in government, to like not just say like this solution worked for this person over here in another state, but like how can we like refine it for our specific population? But yeah, so nonprofits, I always say, are a great source. So if you're involved with a nonprofit,
Yes.
like make sure they're reaching out
Mhm.
to their elected officials. A lot of nonprofits, I also feel like, back away, like we're not allowed to do advocacy in accordance with the 501c3 tax laws.
Yes.
But I'm like, it's not advocacy. Like, one, you can do a little bit, but it's not
Educate.
advocacy to educate and to call your legislators and let them know about your data in your work. So I also spend a lot of time trying to educate nonprofits about that as well.
That's
very
beautiful.
important.
That's very
Very
important.
Before we continue, Fernando, with your question, let me just close the doors. It's fine because I hear a lot of noise down here. If you want to come in, Roger, that's fine. Are you sure?
Come on, Roger. Come in.
Yes,
Come
it's,
into the light.
a little bit echoey, and we can hear everything from downstairs. So, muy bien. So, continuamos. Muy bien, Fernando.
My next question, I speak in Spanish. She translate for me because I need understand very good the people hear this question. Ayudando a candidatos en las últimas elecciones, me di cuenta que hay mucho latino que está no activo, está inactivo, porque van a votar y no están en las listas.
So there's a lot of Latinos that they go on to the both sides and to the polls, and they are not active when it comes to registrations, when they look at the list.
Porque fueron a votar, no estaban en la lista y no sabían que, por ejemplo, pueden votar con una registración inmediata.
So they go to the polls and they're not registered, but they don't know they can have an immediate voting.
Y no vuelven a votar.
And they don't come back.
Entonces, la pregunta es, ¿qué está haciendo su oficina para ayudar a esta gente a entender el proceso que pueden votar inmediatamente con una registración en el mismo sitio?
So what is the office doing in order to educate and let people know that this process is in place in order to vote, that they can do the immediate vote right in there at the moment, they can register and do all these steps?
So there's a couple of things in there, so I want to make sure your audience understands. There are two classifications for registered voters, active and inactive. If you do not vote in a certain number of federal elections, you are moved to inactive, and that's federal law. And you have to be kept on the list as inactive. So if you show up as inactive, you'll be asked basically like to re-register again, like you
right
have
at
to
the moment?
like you have to kind of activate again. They have to make sure you are who you say you are, etc. But the other thing you're saying is Connecticut is a state that has what is called same-day registration. It does not exist in every state, but we have it here.
Yes.
So that means you can register and vote on the same day.
The same day, the same poll.
But people, I always say, like, you have to look up this stuff before elections because laws also change. So in Connecticut, during early voting, in primary elections only, you cannot register and vote on the same day.
Okay.
But you can register before noon and vote the next day. If that but only in primaries. In general elections, you can register and vote on the same day.
Okay.
Now, in terms of what we're doing about it, this is this problem. We have no funding for public outreach, but because I think it's important, we have spent a lot of time doing this kind of like old school on the cheap. We have built relationships with over, I don't even know, like 400 organizations. Like every time we meet people, like, hey, we'd like to send you this info.
Yes.
So we, like when early voting rolled out, we sent like emails to everyone on our list, like every other week, like please share this with your community. We created Civics 101 because we thought if we can put together the materials, make it shareable, other people will share it.
Yes.
So
Access to
we
it, yes.
make social media posts and flyers and
Yes.
whatnot, and it's videos, and it's all downloadable so other people can
Right.
help spread the info. Then we started our CEO program, which is stands for Civically Engaged Organizations, because we have the business registry, so we have access to a lot of businesses.
Yes.
So we're like, hey, join our CEO program, and once a month, we'll send you info that is helpful for your community to know, whether it's your employees, your customers, etc. So we have over 300 CEOs. So when like early voting came out or same day registration, like we'll send out this kind of information and ask them to share it. And many of our CEOs happen to be media partners.
Yes.
So they were like, hey, the way we'll give back is we'll have you on and like we'll give you free PSAs.
Yes.
And so that's like how we got the word out about early voting and
No, and
But
it's
also
also
a lot of
these
work to
things.
do.
Yeah.
It's very important. I think education education is key. If we don't know, we cannot act on it because we don't know.
Yeah.
And I think the office is doing a big effort in order to put information out there. Now knowing that there's no budget, there's no dinero para eso.
Yes.
Like not even $100.
Not
Like
even.
literally zero.
And I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people don't
People
know.
don't know.
They don't
Like
know.
people like, how come you're not? I'm like, because
There's
we
no
don't have
budget,
any
hello.
money.
So, and my next question was exactly about that. The trust in the government increased when we are represented. And here, the question is, how is the Secretary of the State's office collaborating with Latino leaders, organizations, and media to build stronger and put the information out there? And you just answered that question.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important that we don't assume that the communities know how to do something simple. Because my experience as educator, I've been educating my community for about 17 years in the state of Connecticut, and I have the chance to travel to other countries bringing information as well. So, but when I come back here to the nucleus where I live, where I spend most of my time in my professional life, I most of the time we assume. Because we repeat the same information over and over as professionals, because I teach about nutrition for 15 years, business for 13 years. I teach it for so long that you believe it, and then it's so inbred in your brain that you think that everybody else knows it too. And that's something that I always try to avoid when I'm teaching, when I'm educating, because it's not about teaching it up, it's about passing the information for you to be active and be powerful in that way.
100%.
And I think, when people know, I think they can act on it.
I totally agree. I always assume no one knows, right?
Exactly.
One of the things I started doing, because I go out and speak a lot, and when I first started, I think I thought people knew more than they did.
Right.
Actually, that's not true. When I was campaigning in 2022, one of the things I did, there's a program, the Ms. President program for middle schoolers and elementary school kids. And I went to one of their sessions and they gave the girls a quiz. And I'm like, these girls are so cute. And I'm like, wow, they know so much. So when I was campaigning for secretary, I was like, I wonder if adults know this much.
Thank you.
So I would drive around the state and just go to random coffee shops and be like, will you take this civics quiz? And I gave them those questions.
Yes.
Most people can only answer
They
one.
yes.
I mean, like
Because
basic
of the
things.
lack of
but
knowledge.
They just, because a lot of us never had it in school.
Yeah.
Or you had it in school like 30 years ago.
Exactly.
And
It's not the
don't-
same information
and no
anymore.
one taught
It's not
you.
the same. It's not the same.
So it's always, so I just never assume. I also always tell people aren't always voting for the reasons you think.
Yes,
or
That was one of the
yeah,
examples.
so it's really important that, to me, even something as elementary as voting is like lifelong education.
Yes.
I agree.
Because people don't realize, like we had this year, equipment changes.
Yes.
So the machine's gonna look a little different
Yes,
this year.
technology and everything.
Technology changes,
Yes.
like election workers change, laws change all the time. So it's always a good idea, like, oh, let me check the Secretary of the State's website to see if anything changed,
Yes,
etc.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm responsible of having a lot of Latinos going to your website and registering their
Yes.
business.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I teach a lot about, and the first lesson,
Yeah.
it's about registering
Yes.
their name of their business.
The
registering their
website's
business
pretty
in their
good,
website.
right?
It's pretty good.
It's good, right?
Yes,
really
it is
good.
good, and I like the Civic
Yes.
101. That's definitely
Yes.
a
Yeah.
great tool for them
Good,
to
good.
get to learn
It
more about it.
condense- They
Yes.
condense all the information in a simple way.
Oh, and I have to tell you guys about something. I don't think you know about it. We just launched a couple of weeks ago platform Power of Civics.
Oh,
Do you
that's
know
awesome.
about
yes,
this?
yes. I think it looks like a Powerpuff type of thing.
Yeah, so it's an online training
Yes.
program. It used to be just in PDF form, but like now it's like videos,
More digital.
quizzes,
Yes.
etc. to teach people how to interact with government, whether it's local, state, or federal.
That's a
And
great tool.
It's a great tool. I
Yes.
do I am sorry, we don't have it in Spanish.
Okay.
Because
That's right.
we did have money.
Let me say something.
Yeah.
If you need help, let me know because I don't translate. I transcreate, read in English, and put in
Okay.
correct Spanish.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I will reach out.
And it also,
If anyone volunteers, be careful. I will take you up on
Fernando Sardeña, he is a volunteer. No, and that's my next question. Like if you would like to, Stephanie, if you say like this is, if you can identify a topic or a single action information
Yeah.
that it needs to be out there. That you want us to continue replicating and communicating, what will be that information that you really said you can identify as the most important information that most people should know, especially Latinos?
I'm going to give you two.
Yes, please.
One, I definitely want to get the word out about the translation tool that can be available
Okay.
at polling places.
Very important.
But you have to call your town's registrar of voters.
How soon do we need to call?
I would call them. You can call at any time
Okay.
saying, I would like to use this the next time I come vote.
Okay.
I would say 3 to 4 weeks before an election because they may have to refresh themselves how to use the tool.
Okay, okay.
But they also might have to build it into their budget. And number two would be the power of civics. Anyone who is comfortable communicating in English, if they can go on that platform, because that is really the empowerment, like how to make sure your voice is heard between elections. And
yes.
like I feel like now, like just even more than ever, like the way government starts to reflect the values of most people is by hearing from most of the people.
Yes, I mean, I think I agree. It's like, communication.
Yes.
Very important. So, thank you so much, Stephanie. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you so
Thank you
much.
for everybody here. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Nuevamente tenemos a Stephanie Thomas, la secretaria del estado. También es la oficina de registración de negocios aquí en Connecticut. Y una vez más somos Latinos que Progresan, el podcast número 1 y el único podcast educativo en Connecticut. So Stephanie, I would like to thank you, again in English, but I also would like to say that we are in a commitment of educating the community.
Yes.
So Fernando and I, we are putting together a whole curriculum and we are putting this information out there to the Latinos and even non-Latinos, anyone who's willing to listen and educate themselves about these topics, about the civic education.
Yeah.
And this is something that we are working because we recognize that need. So the civic education and also the growth of vocabulary and understanding universal Spanish, universal communication, because we need that among Latinos. And also elevates our vocabulary levels. That's very important for us. Very important.
Everything works together. I was happy to be here.
Thank
you
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias, Roger. Gracias.
Latinos que progresan, pocas uniendo a través de la educación.